me close that. Whew, good, it did work. Hello, hello. It is Wednesday, April 26th. I don't know how that happens. I always say I see the 1st, the 15th, and pretty much the end of the month because that's how quick life goes. But today is Wednesday, April 26th, and today you are creating with Colleen. My name is Colleen Magnus, and I come to you live every Wednesday, noon Eastern Time on my YouTube channel. Let me boot my computer up and make sure I'm the right way here. I was, oh my gosh, I was panicking because it looked like I had that portrait mode locked again when I was trying to turn my camera, but praise the Lord, I came on straight, even though I was that way. I have learned how to unlock the portrait mode though. We're making progress. So today we have an exciting day. I hope you've had a great week, half a week anyways. I hope you've had a great morning, but now it's time to kick back, relax, let me create because I have some fun things to show you. Last week, I actually did a part 1, this is part 2, from a beautiful bundle that's coming out in the new annual catalog called Fresh as a Daisy. And it is a wonderful suite. So last week, we created 7 cards from 1 sheet of designer paper, and 5 of them were special folds because y'all know that is what is very near and dear to my heart. I love working with a ruler, kind of weird like that, but I was a drafter, so I think that's where it came from. But today we're going to take those 7 cards and we are going to embellish them, put some stamps and inks to them. I got a couple tricks to teach you, and as I always like to think, I will teach you something. I promise to teach you something. I might teach you what not to do, might teach you what not to do, but you will walk away from this video learning something. So we are going to go ahead and get started, and I'll say my hellos. I will go ahead and turn the camera down, but again, I hope you enjoy this video. It has been an absolute pleasure making these cards. So hold on. I always show you my good window I get to look out. I have 3 skylights in my stamp room. It is wonderful. When we first did the addition on the house, the guys thought this was going to be a man cave. Can you imagine that? They're like, oh yeah, that's a man cave, because the whole upstairs, this was going to be a cathedral ceiling. We got a whole entire upstairs room out of it. And I just had to tell them, look guys, this is a stamp room if I've ever seen one. And it's been that way ever since. So let me see. Who do we have here? Yes, Bren, day is going good. Oh, Bren sent me a card today. Thank you, Bren. I always love snail mail. Now I'll be stalking my mailman to see what card you sent. Hello, Sarah. Yes, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous day in Virginia. I think we're getting some rain come Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But we will enjoy the day. That's as far as we're supposed to go. Simply enjoy today. I have Linda, and I have somebody who's owned by a husky. Woo, we know what that's like. We are all owned by our dogs, and they're the most wonderful beings there are. And hello, Patty and Gwen and Diane. So Diane is waiting on the delivery of her bundle. Diane, you are going to love it. Hey, Lynn. So without further ado, we are going to get started. Just real quick. This is the Cheerful Daisy stamp set. Again, beautiful. And I love it because it's a 2-step stamp, which is always fun. It's in photopolymer, so you can see right through it, stamped very easily. But I also love that you have the outline, so you could stamp and color that in, or you don't even have to outline it. You could just use the other side of the stamp, the other part of it. This is what the dies look like. So you can see the number and types of daisies that you can make from this bundle from the dies. So here we have a detail, then we have the solid that creates a daisy like this. And you don't have to use dark colors. I did that to show you the difference. You could do a white and a vanilla, or, you know, well, I'm not even going to try to give you suggestions because it's just countless what that you could do. Here again, your dies will cut out the outline, the inside. We have centers, other kinds of flowers. So you can make all those from that die, all these. Always love when there's a label die in there, something we can stamp on. And the majority of the words from this set fit in there. And then this is fun too. So I'm not going to show you all the paper. I did that on the last video. But the Fresh as a Daisy designer paper is absolutely gorgeous. So this is the one sheet that we actually made all our cards from. We got 7 cards from here. I don't know if y'all hear the phone in the background. Can't believe they're not watching my live. Who would be calling me? They better leave a message. So here, this was a sheet. I could have used 12 sheets of this. Absolutely gorgeous, but honestly, the rest of the pack is just as beautiful. So with no further ado, we are going to jump in. I have got 7 boxes to the right of me, and we are going to go ahead and embellish these cards. So here, this was the first card that we had, and I don't know why this just resonates with me so much. I can't remember if my Aunt Mary Kay had a picture like this on her wall. That's what it reminds me of, but to me it was gorgeous just like this, but we needed to add a little something. So what I'm adding, and again, when I say a little something, I did not want to cover these flowers up. So I've got this part here. What I'm going to do with a photopolymer, I like to stamp on a mat because it's not squishy like the red rubber. It's a harder plastic, but it's great because you can get a lot of detail with photopolymer. The fact that it's 2-step, you can see through it, but you do want a little bit of padding underneath. So this is very simple. I didn't really try to cut, you know, the length of it. I can trim that up. So here I'm going to take my early espresso, and then I'm going to take You Made My Day. Oh, it's hard not to see. Oh, got my head in there. Let's see if I can. You're so used to stamping looking on top. Okay, You Made My Day. And I'm going to clean these as I go because I'll be using some of them on different cards. So this was a 1/4 inch strip wide, just how long I wanted it. And then here I have the early espresso. This is 3/8 inch, so really not a lot thicker. But what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll trim. It's an easy snip. Just I'm going to snip that. And then, let me see. I'm going to do this one a little bit longer because I want to be able to put an embellishment on there. So once I have this, I will take my adhesive, and I'm just going to get rid of this because I can't see dark on dark. But I will line this up so that it's pretty much the same top, bottom, and left side, like that. Then I can just take this, give a little snip, and I am going to take, this bundle actually features all 5 of the new in colors, and the in colors really are nice. Our last time the in colors were really bright. These are more of a natural type colors. We have Copper Clay, Wild Wheat, Boho Blue, Moody Mauve, and Pebbled Path. So I love when you get the embellishments that of course are going to match your cardstock. And I'm going to have to keep these out because I do end up using quite a few of them. So I have my Take Pick tool. Need to get a refill. My little gummy stuff is about running out because I have really used it, but it's great to pick up your embellishments. So right there, You Made My Day. Then I will take, it's driving me nuts, that little piece is sticking up there. Let me put a little adhesive there. Why I never leave well enough alone, I'll never know, but you know, you just got to be able to sleep at night. Much better. Okay, so now we'll just take my little bitty dimensionals. Okay, and I will put them on here. So how did y'all like that free shipping last week? That really was a great deal. Really worked out nice. I love when they'll do that. And then I'm just going to put this at the bottom. And right there, You Made My Day. So that is the front of my card. Now for the inside, get my little piece of scratch paper here. And I am going to, let me put these measurements with that. When I open this, I'm going to leave it blank, but I do want to put a little something on here. So again, I'll take my early espresso, and they have this really neat little stem in there. So I'm just going to put that off towards the bottom. Oh, I'll leave that open. I still need that. And then I'm going to take the, I'm learning the wild wheat. I'm learning everything. Y'all know that. And I can stamp off. I'm debating if I want to. I think I will stamp off. And just keep in mind, sometimes when you stamp, it looks really, really dark, but it'll lighten up just a little bit too. But here I have my wild wheat. And then I can come in with that sweet little center. And I've got daisies on the front. I've got daisies on the inside. And just like that, card number 1 is complete. So let's see who's popped on. Judith is here, Steph, Joanne, hi y'all. Cindy, woo, she almost forgot. You know what I do, Cindy, anymore? I set my alarm on my phone for like everything. It's a lifesaver. Crazy, I know. But you know, if you have the tools, you might as well get them to work for you. So that was our first card. Now our next card, again, 5 of these were special folds. So here, this is what the special fold looked like. So we called it kind of a flip-flop card. You kind of went this way. There's all my parts that I'm going to use. But a fun fold. Side folds from both sides, actually. So what I'll do is on the front, these are great dies to have, especially since they took the circle dies away. If you have them, of course, you'll be using them, which is great. But this is called Stylish Shapes dies. And I love them because they're all stitched. So you have banners, you have a multitude of circles and squares. And so they're really, really great for stamping your sentiments on. Oh, good, Kathy's here. It's okay to be late, Kathy. Better late than never. And I'm glad you're here. I was getting worried about you. I was going to email you afterwards. So I hope all is well in your part of the world. So here, I'm just going to stamp your friendship means everything, like that. And I'm going to take this, and then I'm just going to put this on the first flap here on the right. Yes, she said, all is well, just busy. That is life these days, isn't it? Busy, busy. But life is still good. So here I'll take these little pieces off. And they just want to stick to me today. So with this, I'm going to put your friendship means everything right here. And I had this nice little tray of flowers. Y'all know I'm an open book and I always tell on myself. Well, I just went to move just a minute ago and they all fell on the floor. So give me just a minute to pick my flowers up on my little parts and pieces. All right, I think I got enough to work with here. These I did go ahead and stamp, and I went ahead and die cut them. So we would have them all ready. And what I did, I am going to show you how I two-step stamp these flowers later. But for the right now, I'm just going to put them on here. Oh my goodness, we don't need that here on our card. All right. So I have my pieces here, and I stamped this with the new Moody Mauve, and I also outlined it with the copper clay. I like how those two colors go really well together. So I will take this. Of course, you have to have your little center to your flower. So I will put this on like so. Oh my goodness. Here we go. I put that on and build my flower like so. I don't like where that's at. There we go. And then I have a little leaf. I will be using that. And then I like this piece here. So what I'll do on the front, I did end up taping this one down. There's my tape. Here we go. So I will take this and I'm going to put it, I like it kind of off the top some. And you notice I didn't put it down. Let me use that darker leaf. I think I like that better. Because I do want to slide this underneath. So I have my flower here. I have this here. Now for the bottom, I wanted something to kind of hold this down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mini dimensionals and I'm going to put it on the bottom. Hey, Benita, I'm glad you are here too. Let me put this on this side. I always like to put two because it kind of anchors it. You can't slide around. But I want to make sure this overhangs on this corner but does not stick to it. So if I put that there, oops, you got to push it down first. I wanted to see if it worked first. I guess you just got to go on a wing and a prayer and push it down and there. So that'll slide in and keep that shut. And then to embellish it, I'm going to take the pebbled path, the small ones, because that is a cardstock that we're using. I'm going to put a little brad there. Oh my goodness, come on. Y'all know the struggle's real. It always is. But I have learned you have to laugh at yourself. If you don't, you go crazy. And that's no good place to be. So here I have the embellishments, which look awesome with the cardstock. And then I think I'm going to put one of the Moody Mauve embellishments. I think I'll put it there. So this is, let me put these up before I spill them again. This is the front of the card. Again, I call it my little flip-flop card. That'll come that way. That'll come this way. But you still need a place to write or to have some kind of a sentiment. So what I have here, this is 2 3/4 by 4 of your basic white. And then I just made it a little bit bigger. This is 2 7/8 by 4 1/8 full pebble path. So I like incorporating designer paper into my corners a lot of times. So I am going to take, this was just, actually it came from the pinwheel peekaboo card that we did 2 weeks ago. And I had this little square left over. So y'all know when you have gorgeous designer paper, one must not waste it. That is not acceptable. So I'm just going to kind of trim around this flower. Because I want a little daisy to go in the corner there. Let me come around like so. Alrighty. And there I have my flower, a little two-pointed. Okay. So for this, I'm just going to stick it right in the bottom. And when I first did it, see how it was kind of outlined with that Moody Mauve? I want to trim a little bit more of that off. Not too much, just a little bit. So you see more of the petal. And then I will just take my adhesive. I'm going to stick this in the corner. And it just adds that little pretty touch without having to actually stamp anything on it. So here I had your friendship means everything. And, well, I'm cheating. I'm showing you the original. Okay, but most of it's done. So this was the original. And originally I stamped, oops-a-daisy, so sorry. Because sometimes we do things that we kind of regret. And it's a good card to send to a friend. But this one, because you know their friendship does mean everything, this one I'm going to leave blank because I'm really hoping I don't mess up with too many friends. And I only need one of those cards. That'll work. Then I'll have another card to send. So I have this. And this is just slightly smaller than this because I don't want it to be tacky and have you sticking up the top or anything. That would not be acceptable. So here, I kind of get an idea where I'm at. Let's see, like that. Close it to make sure you don't see it. I can even bring it out a little bit further. So it's hidden. Push it all down. And then this is your next special fold card. So we are 2 for 2 right now. Again, I got some tricks coming up that I will be showing you. Let me put my boxes down. All right, the next one was, we just love this card. This was from the same sheet of designer paper, although I didn't find that it really went with the whimsical daisies. This was our Regal card. This was absolutely gorgeous. It was with the brushed gold, which I'm so thankful carried over. Goes perfect with this. And you know, I'm so happy Pretty Peacock came back because that is a gorgeous, gorgeous color. So I had to go to a different set, and that's okay. That's not a problem. This is the Something Fancy stamp set, and it has its own set of dies, and this carried over from the mini catalog. So you can get it now through May 1st with a 10% discount with the dies because it's in the catalog, but when a bundle carries over, the 10% discount goes away. So the good news is you can still get it, but you are actually going to buy the stamp set separate from the dies. But sadly, we do need sympathy cards, and I just thought this font really matched this paper more than the daisy paper because it's not a whimsical card. It's just regal and gorgeous and love it. So here I'm going to take the Pretty Peacock ink. I'm going to pull it and see if I can get my head in there. Just stamp with Deepest Sympathy. And then it still needed a little something. So this, I think this was like it's a 1/4 inch or 3/8. Let me check. 1, 2, 3/8. So this was 3/8 by about 2 7/8. Right here, just a little something to go along the back. So I will take my adhesive, put it on here, and I just kind of put it in the middle, but make sure my sides are even like so. So I have this here, and then I'm going to embellish it. So I think I'm gonna have to buy me another pack of these embellishments real soon. Because again, this suite features all 5 new ink colors. But I have 5 ink colors in the brads, in the little embellishments here to work with. So now that I have this, I'm gonna take my, you know what, let's go for the big boys right now. I'm just gonna take one of each and put it on here. So Renee came too. Well, welcome, Renee. You can go back and watch the other ones we just did, but we're only on card 3, and we have 7 to go. So you still get to see a lot. So very, very simple. Doesn't need to be fancy. I have the embellishments, the wild wheat, so with Deepest Sympathy, and then I just left the inside blank, so you could write a note of endearment to them. So that is our 3rd card. Hey, Cynthia, she's from Indianapolis. Glad you could join today. We are finishing up cards that we created last week. So this is actually part 2 of the video. So you really need to see both to make all the cards, but I think it's worth it. Hopefully you do too. So now with this card, again, designer paper is wonderful. I made a gatefold card. So that's what I showed you to do last week. And these daisies just spoke to me as far as being white. So I thought, how can I, project that onto my paper this azure afternoon? Y'all gonna hear me say that first word many different ways. Azure, azure. I might have to Google that and see if I can find a video where somebody says it correctly. I'm a butcher of vocabulary, but you'll know what I'm talking about. So this is simply 5 1/4 by 4. Nothing fancy here, just for the inside. But I'm going to stamp this first because it's just going to take a minute to dry. We have a Whisper White craft pad. And it's great because you can emboss. You can throw a clear embossing powder on here. It's sticky, so to hold the ink. But it also is great with every color of paper that you have because it stamps white. You can't go wrong. Kind of like with the Versamark. The Versamark is great because it just darkens, makes a watermark of all 50 colors. So it's nice, it's subtle. So here I'm just going to stamp the flower like that. And actually, let me see my stamp set. I forgot to get out the center. So let me grab the center. I don't want a hole in my daisy. Alrighty, let me take that stamp off. Here we go. So I'm just going to take the center, put it on here. And again, being a pigment ink, the craft ink, it's just going to take a few minutes to dry. So that's why I'm going to stamp this first. But I have this beautiful white daisy now. And I'm going to put my pad up. And I love it because to me, it looks like the daisy's on the front. So I'm going to set this here to dry for a minute. That will be my inside. And then for the front of the gatefold card, I'm using the tag dies, and thankfully they carried over. They're all jumbled up. I don't have them sticking down, but they're great. It's called tailor-made tags. And again, whatever card you want tags on, we have all different sizes. And they even have like little circles that go around the hole if you want to use those. Very, very cool. So I have different inks in different boxes. So I'm kind of switching around because I'm using them more than once. But here I have the azure. That's how my friend told me to say it yesterday. Actually, I don't need that. Let me put that back. I need the copper clay. So I'm going to take the copper clay and the wishing you the brightest birthday. Now this little label die, this is in the Careful Daisies, the Fancy Daisies bundle. So I will just take this, stamp that in my copper clay. Then I can just put that on the tag. And when I did it, this is stitched and this is stitched there, so I actually lined up the stitching on the right side. So it kind of looked like it was all one. There we go. Oh, sorry guys, I got to get this in front of my eyes. You'll see it in just a minute. Okay, ta-da! So I have that there. And typical Stampin' Up! Fashion, you have the embellishments, the ribbons, everything are beautiful. And let's hope I get this right. Every time I do this, I have to come through the other side. If I bring, what I did is I have just a piece of ribbon here, maybe 4 or 5 inches. Cut it at an angle. I am putting it through the hole. And I will pull that, and you have to be careful. Keep in mind, this is just cardstock. So you don't want to pull real tight. But I'm going to loop this through. I pulled it through, I'm going to loop it through here. And then loop them both through, not just one. Okay. And then instead of pulling this to get it tight, you kind of have to work it a little bit. Because again, you don't want to pull that, the hole. You definitely don't want to do that. So kind of pull it from the back and then pull it from the top. Makes it a little bit tighter. Oh my goodness. If I'd known I was going to have this much trouble, I'd have done this ahead of time. Pull it through. Oh my God. So glad y'all are my friends. Pulling the wrong way. Pull this way. Good Lord. I think I might just take the other one off. One day I will learn how to edit. Okay, let me do this in my lap. Hold on. Trying to hold it out in front of you just does not want to work. Talk amongst yourselves. Y'all have been quiet today anyways. All right, so as I pull this through, a little bit tighter, then pull the top. Whew, that was painful. Sorry about that. So now that I have this on the top here, I can trim my corners at an angle. Praise the Lord, we have a tag. Okay, so to put this on here, I'm only going to put my dimensionals on the right side because I have to be able to open this. Colleen versus a ribbon. Oh my gosh, was that just like close? The ribbon almost won. I have had my butt kicked by cardstock before. I have made cards before, and I mean, it would be late at night and I'm wrestling and I'm trying to get it right. And I find the best thing to do is to go to bed. When you go to bed and you, when you go to bed and you wake up in the morning, things are always brighter. So Kathy's playing the Jeopardy music. Good for you, Kathy. I wish we would have had that in the background. If I had known how to edit, we will. We will. So here we have, I'm going to take, again, 4 of the little, I'm going to have to buy more of these guys, of my little embellishments, just to kind of accent, put something in the corner. Like that. And that card is almost done, because now this is dry. I could put this inside. And here I thought this was going to be the easy one. So here's your inside, and here. Is there anything I can put on the end of the ribbon to keep it from fraying? Actually, Renee, there probably isn't. It's just the way the ribbons are made. Just, you know, some of course are a tighter silk and they wouldn't fray. This one, I think once it's cut, I don't think it would fray a lot. It just depends on how much you manhandle it. But it is going to fray when you're putting it in there. And keep in mind, I was wrestling really, really big with this ribbon. But I think once it's on here, it'll be fine. And then open and close. So I know Steph said they just need to make a pack of this paper. It is so beautiful. It is. But honestly, Stephanie, I'm now looking forward to creating with the other sheets in this pack because they too are gorgeous and the colors are absolutely amazing. So there's our gatefold card. My goodness. We have some more to make. 3 more. 3 more. Let me scoot them down. Now this one, this is where I'm going to teach you a trick. God willing. Okay, so this card here, I'll get my adhesive in front of me. I'll be looking for that. Again, this card was just yum, yum, yum. Paper was amazing. And I struggled with this card because I was like, what do you put on here? The only thing I think it needed was a couple birds in the clouds and we could have called it a day. But I kind of needed to put something. Absolutely gorgeous, so I absolutely love it. So what I ended up doing is I used this little tag and the Azure Afternoon, I stamped with it, but it just looked a little bit flat. I wanted it embossed. But I was like, well, I don't have any Azure Afternoon embossing powder. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can make that. So I'm getting ready to show you. It's an old trick, but it's how you would actually, you can have 50 colors of embossing powder with just this trick. So what I'm gonna do, you're gonna need your Versamark. And also, incidentally, I used the Seaside Bay stamp set because, again, I didn't need a whimsical saying. I wanted something else, so I'm going to use this set right here. It works great. It did also carry over, and I'm going to use the thank you for everything. So when you are doing this, you need clear embossing powder. Your little tray is great. And then when I emboss, I like to just take a piece of this, just a piece of cardboard that I put tin foil on. And this is what I will lay my piece on when I am embossing, because it reflects the heat from the back. You know, so this way it kind of heats up even quicker. But what I'll do is I will open, let me put this out of the way. When you are embossing, you need something sticky. And that's why Versamark or any of the pigment craft inks, which right now we just have the white, work great. But what I'm gonna do, it will never hurt your ink pad to stamp in Versamark first and then your color. The other way around, it's a different story. But here, I'm just gonna take this thank you for everything. So I've got my Versamark on here. I'm gonna put it in my Azure Afternoon, and I'm going to stamp. So you got a little bit of stickiness there. Then I'm going to put it in my tray, sprinkle on my clear embossing powder, and believe it or not, that will emboss, and it'll give you a nice shiny look. So let me close this real quick. I'm going to take it on my piece of tin foil. I don't want to hit those words. Put it on the edge, and this is why the tweezers that they sell in kit works really well for embossing, because I don't have to have my fingers in the way. So when I do emboss, I'm going to turn my gun on first and let it heat up for just a couple seconds. And then I like to, some people like go all around. I can't see it as well. I want to see this embossing powder melting and turning shiny as I go across, because you can over emboss. That's experience talking, y'all. You can actually emboss to where it's not shiny and to where it's not raised. So I don't know if you can see this, we'll see. But I'm just going to start here. I'm going to give it just a minute. And you will see it going from kind of like a powdery look to a shiny look. And just that quick and easy, you now have Azure Afternoon embossing powder. So keep in mind with the Versamark pad, you can do that. If y'all could see that, it's kind of raised up. Very pretty. But you can do that with every classic ink pad that you have. So now I'm going to take the beautiful brushed brass butterflies that I love so much. And I really, really like them because they're flat. They mail great. You don't have to worry about anything bulky. And I'm just going to take one of the bigger ones. They have two sizes. You can tell I've used quite a few of mine. This is the larger of the two. And I'm just going to take one. I'm going to put it up here on my label. And I still wanted to bring that color in just a little bit. So these are the adhesive backed solid gems. And I like them because very nice sizes in here. I mean, look at from the tiniest to the large right here. You have 3 different sizes. And so my little bitty tiny one is going to go in the middle. And then with this, I am just going to use my large dimensionals. Put it right there. And then this will go down on the bottom. So now you have these words embossed. Simple. I could not put much on this card because, again, anything I did, I was afraid would take care of, take away from the front. So beautiful, simple card. Now for the inside, I already put these down. I think I got ahead of myself. But this was 5 1/4 by 4 inch lemon lolly, which is a new color, really fun color. And then 5 by 3 3/4 basic white. So to stamp on here, what I'm gonna do, let me see, I knew I needed that one color. I already put it back. Let me grab that. So here I've got the pebbled path, and then I have the copper clay. So I'm gonna have to clean my pad. There we go. Let me get a piece of scrap. Let me grab that. So if I had the markers, which incidentally, I don't know if y'all know this, they have reworked the markers. So they are on my list. We always had the best markers from Stampin' Up. And this is what the old ones look like. Just like our blends, there was a fat line and a thin line. That's how you knew that this was the fat end and this was the fine end. It only took me about 4 years to figure that out. It was like an epiphany when I knew they had these lines. But see how this is such a fine tip? It was great for writing, but at the same time, you didn't do much with it except that at the most. So now the fine tips are a little bit, they're thicker. They're more like the small end of the blends. So I think we're really going to get a lot more use out of them. And then of course this end here is perfect because that was always great. But what I would do is I would take the fat end if I had both of the in color markers. Again, I can't get it all in a day, but you can bet I'll be ordering on May 2nd. And I would have taken the pebbled path, and I would have taken the side of the brush end. I would have colored the sand, and then I would have taken the copper clay, and I would have just colored the shells themselves. And then you could just huff. You don't want to blow, but it's a classic ink. It's a water-based ink. So when you huff on it, it moistens that ink where it's not dry, and then I could stamp getting 2 totally different colors on this block. It does not work with your blends, incidentally. The blends, they are an alcohol ink, and they would dry quickly. But since I can't do that, what I'm gonna do is I'm taking the pebbled path, and I just stamp those. Okay, and then on a piece of scrap paper, I'm gonna stamp these, and I'm gonna cheat, but it's a good cheating. It just shows you how to do different things, get different looks, if you don't have all the products that you need. That's what I'm here to do. So with this, just real quickly, I'm just gonna trim out these little shells. Now see how tiny this shell is? It's gonna be kind of hard putting my adhesive on there, so I'm gonna actually put it on here while it's still on here. Just a little bit. Then when I finish cutting this out, let me grab that. I can put this here. My fingers don't do tiny too well, but I'm trying to train them. So here I have this one. My adhesive is on it. And I will put it right there. Then I will take my larger shell, trim this up. Just go around, nothing too fancy. Again, if I want to, while I've got something to hold, cut this one out. So you can see where the markers would have been a lot easier, but since I don't have them, I'm gonna get that same look. Get up there. Here we go, and one more. So let me see. Oh my goodness, Stephanie is having her order delivered to our house in Virginia, but she's in Wisconsin. That is a dilemma. How much longer you got in Wisconsin, Steph? I know you love it there too. She's surrounded by lots of friends and family, but my goodness, when you don't have your stamps, that is a dilemma. All right, so here I have my last one, and I'll put it on here. So you could see where I have now the 2 different colors by using what I had. So this here That is our 5th card. We are rolling along. All right, let me see. Renee said she learned the hard way. She stained a flower from a stamp set, y'all, by using the blends. That's a bummer. I feel your pain, Renee. You know, it's hard when they stain, but just know they're perfectly fine. They will still work great without any problems at all. Now, y'all know I'm going to be saving the best for last. So this is number 6. Can't wait to show you my last one. Although I have loved making all of them, I have to be honest with you. So here, on this one, let me see. This was a card where we took all the leftover pieces. So with all the different leftover pieces, we created this collage. So hopefully, let me see, till May 20th, she'll bring the good. She did bring some stuff, just not the new stuff. Gotcha. Well, at least you have some stuff to stamp with, Steph. And I'm not going to stop, but my laptop is kind of spooling. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still rolling. So somebody let me know I'm still rolling, and I'm going to keep going. So for this card here, you need a couple different things. I already did my flower. But this one here, you need a piece of 5 by 3 3/4 basic white. That'll be for our center. And then I have this flower I've already done. And then I have the label. Now let me see which box I had the birthday sentiment in. I see it right here. Oh. Nope, that was sympathy. I don't want too many sympathy cards. Let me find the birthday. Oh, way under here. Let me see. All right. So that was on the gatefold. Here we go, right here. Okay, so I have the birthday stamp. Let me make sure I cleaned it. And I'm just going to stamp with the boho blue, which is a beautiful blue. Wishing you the brightest birthday. So here we go. Okay, wishing you the brightest birthday. I have this. And then in the dies, the daisy dies, there's this really cool, this is all one piece that you get in there. So I was trying to think how I could incorporate that into a card. So here I'm just going to take my scrap white, and I'm just going to take the blending brush. I really like the small blending brushes. They're great because the big ones are good, but you can't get quite as much detail in them. So it's kind of dark. So I'm just going to kind of try to come in here. I wanted to leave a little bit of light and maybe a little bit in the top here. Go over that one so there's not as much of a line. Make my top just a little bit darker. Okay. So here I have just kind of highlighted that a little bit. Maybe I can come around these edges. A little too heavy there. Kind of come around. And I'm not too worried about this big flower because I am actually going to be replacing that with the one that I stamped. So I have that, just a little bit of light in there. And then for my leaves, of course, I want them to be with the garden green. So here, just going to kind of touch on them a little bit, just so it's not so white. Okay. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put it down here. But what I'll do is I'll put some tape on here. A little bit of adhesive. Y'all are still spooling, so if you're doing comments, I can't see you, but hopefully you can see and hear me. And then I will go back and check everything. Danny and I are blessed. We are going to go to Norway on our Stampin' Up! Trip next month, and the days are filled with so many things to do. I had to get new glasses, got new sunglasses. We're trying to get appointments in. My goal is to go to Verizon and get a new phone. But this I don't think is a phone. This is our wonderful Cox network that always wants to work only when it wants to work. I don't know what's with that. So I'm going to, just so you won't see this underneath, I am snipping this little white flower out. Make sure those are pushed down. And then I'm going to take the daisy that I stamped and I'm going to pop this up. And the reason I did that is I wanted to keep the orientation of that large die, but I wanted to put this here. So here is my stamp. Good, I'm seeing some comments. Good, good, good. Getting a timeout swirl. Oh, you're getting a timeout swirl. I hope not. So y'all did lose me. Doggone it. Let me see. Cindy wanted to know, why do you use the cushion thing to stamp? That's because this is a photopolymer stamp, and with the photopolymer stamp, anything that is clear, that doesn't have a cushion like the red rubber does. So with that, it's, you know, you need a little bit of a cushion. If you have a nice flat table, Cindy, it's really not a problem, but a lot of people stamp on the white plastic tables, and sometimes they give, or you have a texture on it. So to get a really, really good stamp, you want to use the pad, and that's what I have here. This is a piercing pad from Stampin' Up, but you just want to use something along that line to give you the cushion that the actual stamp does not have. Now, the benefit of photopolymer is, you know, if you're two-step stamping, you can see through it, and you can also get a very fine detail with the photopolymer because it's a harder plastic. And so you can really get some nice, tight, small images or words when you're using it. So now I'm just going to accent with a couple of my jewels again. Let me put like, let's try to go here. I think that one would work well. Put one here. And then let's use one of these. We want a big blue one or a little medium? Let's go with the medium. And I'll put one there. So this is the front of our card. By using all the pieces, all these were the 4 separate pieces that were left over from that sheet of paper. And then for the inside, I do just want to show you the two-step stamping. As a general rule of, you know, thumb of rule, rule of thumb, whatever. You basically, I think it's easier to do your outline first because normally what you're stamping on the inside is lighter. And it's easier to see where you're at when you are doing that. So here I'm going to take, most of what I did, I used the copper clay and the Moody Mauve, but here I'm going to stamp off and actually use Moody Mauve for both. So here I will have the outline, and then here I'm going to have my inside, and to make it lighter, since it's the same color, I'm just stamping off on scrap paper. You can give a little huff, and then, I don't know if y'all can see this, you just kind of hover over it to where it looks like you're right on the outline, and then when you pull it up, there you are. It's really that easy. So looking through here, let me see where my little, here we go. This is the little center. So I'm going to go with copper clay. And again, if I want, since it's light in the center, if I want to stamp off and then stamp, I've got a cute little flower for the center. So someone give me a shout out because I am still spooling. Make sure that I'm here with you. If not, I'm having a great time by myself. I will just have to go through and redo everything for you to see. So here I will put this in the center. And this is that beautiful bubble bath. Again, this is just 3 3/4 by 5. Gave it a little bit more of an edge. And that is card number 6. So the last card that I did, I'm gonna put